So what did we do? We started to get busy. We had this over here, we had that over there, we had this over here. So when you get busy, it's time to start narrowing down your niche. Okay? So we have found our niche.
I am joined by wonderful Paddy Carroll. Paddy, you're very welcome.
Deirdre, thanks very much for the invite, and it's great to be here. Can't wait for the stories.
Folks, so I hope you can hear us live. If you can, please drop us a comment into the chat, because this is new software, first time doing a podcast in person and first time streaming it live. So there's loads of firsts happening here. But we're going to start off. Paddy, would you please give us a little bit of intro, a bit of background about you and your business, and yeah, over to you.
So Deirdre, I started my business in 2019. I seen a gap in the market for quantity surveyors, for building contractors, small, medium and large. Obviously when the recession came, a lot of the young people just didn't go to college or didn't go into construction. We're starting to see a big resources are limited now at the moment for QSs. And we're finding that contractors are finding it hard to get these guys or girls on the ground. I said to myself, with the help of my dear wife, to start up a business called Carroll Estimating. We're estimators and we're quantity surveyors. So what we do is practically we want to help the building contractor to measure, rate, and at the end of the day, make profit. And I have a simple saying that if our clients are making money, we're making money. But we're trying to save our contractors time. That's more or less what we're trying to do. We have we have 6 surveyors at the moment. Thank God, we're all busy at the moment. We're always looking for the next client to help out, and it's getting to those sites and walking those sites. That's what we love doing, getting the hands dirty.
Paddy, your business, I have to say, hats off to you. A builder's hat if I was wearing one, but hats off to you, because you have grown an incredible business. How many years are you established now?
I started in January 2019. My first job was for €200. I was finished at 10 o'clock that morning, and I went out to my wife Niamh and I said, what have I done? So she looked at me, and we have 3 small kids and a mortgage like everyone else, and I had to get to work. I had to pick the phone up and start ringing, and the best people to ring are people that you've worked with in your life, in your career. And I would have worked with a building contractor in Kilkenny during my starting as a QS. I call it a trade. I don't call it a profession. I call it a trade that we're in. Yeah, we took it from there, rang a few of my previous builders' competitors, and we went from there, and started off as small measurement jobs of extensions, 40 square metre extensions. Believe it or not, we still do 40 square metre extensions. We don't discriminate against size or money or value of a job, right up to last week of doing a data centre in Europe.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. And Paddy, it's interesting that you talked about your first job and charging €200 for it and then being done by 10 o'clock, because yesterday I put up a post where when I started my business, it was a little bit like that as well. And the first job I quoted €50 per hour for, and I was doing one-off 1 hour sessions. And I don't do that anymore, even though people look for me to do it. But that post yesterday went nearly viral, Paddy. And a question that I have for you is, like, in terms of growing your business and moving on from doing €200 jobs, what has led to the growth that you've now seen and is getting you into those big data centres in Europe and whatnot?
A couple of years ago, in 2014, I did a Masters in BIM, which is Building Information Modelling, which is not just about a drawing or a model of a building. It's actually about the whole process. So it's about data mining, and it's about the whole system of technology and digitising in construction. And that led me on to a belief in my business in 2019 that you've got to bring people with you. Okay, I am not a marketeer, I'm not a copywriter, I'm a quantity surveyor in the building construction. So I need people around me to help to get my business to the next level. As an entrepreneur, you're always looking for the next thing to get you to the next step. And with that, you need help. Mm-hmm. But with help, you've got to pay money.
Yes,
okay? So you've got to be very careful of who you're going to. But another big thing for us is trust. We've got to trust people. And if you want someone to work beside you, it's no different to us working with a contractor. We want the contractor to trust us. to go to a site, to work on their behalf, and to get results for them. And that's very important.
I have a question for you about that then, Paddy, because one of the things that you said is you've got to bring people with you. Who are the people you're talking about bringing with you?
First of all, it's your staff. Okay, they are the brains and the bones behind any business, and you've got to look after them. Thank God, I have 6 wonderful staff. I have a wife that is we'll call her the accountant, but I call her the Rottweiler. The best person to try get money for her is what she is. But yeah, learned that many years ago. If you have a partner at home or a wife or whatever, get them to look after the books. So what I found here starting out, I was doing the quotations. I was the first getting the call about a job. I was doing the quotations. I was agreeing the fee. I was then doing the job. I was then finishing the job, sending it off. Then I was invoicing, and then I was chasing. I soon discovered that you've got to put a stop to some of that, especially at the end.
Yeah.
Employ someone or get someone within your company to go after the money. Because it gets you away from that. You're talking to someone, we could be on a job for weeks tendering, and you could be talking to that person maybe 20 or 30 times over that couple of weeks. So it's nice to have a different voice at the end of it. Okay, we all need to get a little bit steely when we have to go for money, so we do.
I love that. And do you know, a tip I got from my coach, and I'll share this with you for any of you who are solopreneurs in particular, a tip that I got was to set up a separate email address for your accounts.
Yes.
So when I started my business, I used to do this, and I set up my email, or my business name at the time was Deirdre Martin Consulting. So I set up like Barry at deirdremartinconsulting.ie, and Barry was my accounts person.
That's her husband.
Barry is my husband. But also, it's like then when I was looking to get paid from people, it was like Barry was the person who was actually asking for it. And what I found was, this may come across as sexist, but what I found was when there was a man's name on the email address, that actually I got paid faster.
Actually, I find it a little bit different in the construction games. I find it better when a woman is going to chase the money in the construction game. And I presume there's contractors out there who know what I'm talking about, so they do. Just on that, Deirdre, obviously we came to you there about a year ago, and I didn't have a brand, okay? It was a personal thing to me. It was Carroll Estimating. I'm Paddy Carroll. I soon started to realise that we were sending out posts every now and again on social media, but it was doing nothing. So that's when I approached you, and I kept looking up things about marketing that, try do it for free and don't spend as much money on X, Y and Z. To be honest with you, I didn't find that, it wasn't for us. So we had to create that brand. So we had to go back to the beginning. And thankfully today, and we're still learning, we're still going, thanks to Deirdre, we're still improving on our brand. And we're trying to get to that next level, so we are for our customers.
Yeah, I didn't bring you on here to give me a testimonial, Paddy. Grateful and all as I am that you mentioned that. But at the end of the day, like when it comes down to your staff and bringing people along with you and the trust, like when you're hiring staff, whether it's external or internal, and that trust piece, what are you looking out for? Because some people listening may be in that situation where they've never hired someone before, or they've hired people and it just, they haven't gotten the work done, or they haven't delivered 100% what they said they were going to deliver. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we employ an attitude. Attitude is paramount. Paper won't refuse ink, and it won't refuse CVs.
Yeah.
Okay, we can say what we do, X, Y and Z, but as an employer, we are trying to find the best of the best, okay? And that's not easy in this generation, because everyone is so busy. Yeah. Everyone have been nice, they're in good jobs or whatever, being paid very well. And unfortunately, we're in an industry now where there's a lot of, I know it's a terrible thing to say, but we're poaching. Is that a terrible thing to say?
No, it's not. You know, it's an employee's market.
It's an employee's market.
Yeah.
But in saying that, we still have to sit across from that person when we're interviewing them and see what is their attitude. It's not all about what we can do for you, and it's the famous John F. Kennedy, what can you do for us? And that's what we're trying to see, what this person can do. Can they measure X, Y and Z? Maybe not. Have we used this software before? Maybe not. But you know what it is? I am willing to learn that software to do X, Y and Z for your business. And I think attitude taking it on your own self. We don't micromanage in our business. We try to stay away from that micromanagement because we want our staff to learn. And I always say, in our business, mistakes are free. Because
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by mistakes?
Who has not made a mistake? I make mistakes every day of the week. Okay, it's how you react to them. How do you learn from them? Okay, how do I deal with this situation next week? How do I deal with this situation on the next job? Okay, and how am I going to prove myself month on, week on, or come to say, as a quantity surveyor, do you know what it is? I did make this mistake with this job over here. I'm not going to make that mistake again on the next job.
So it's learning from the mistakes.
Learning from the mistakes. Now, contractors will go, I hope you haven't got 20 juniors in your office. No, we have a mixed blend. We have juniors to seniors. Okay, and I find that very important because the junior guys, believe it or not, they have one thing in their hand, and that is a mobile phone. They are so fair with technology, it's unbelievable. Even today, Deirdre, you showed me this software.
Yeah, but I'm not a junior though.
No,
I think I'm older than you. So mistakes are free. Paddy, like, what has happened in your company where somebody has made a mistake and you've thought, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to come back from this? Or maybe where it's affected a client relationship in some way? And if that's happened, can you give us a bit of context around that?
Okay, so that has happened.
Okay,
it has happened. And unfortunately, you have to make that call to your client or customer to, this was the issue. We're telling them that this is never going to happen again. You've got to build that trust again. So what we found was SOPs. Okay, we brought SOPs into our business. What that is literally down to the last nail. That we're telling our employees it's X, Y, and Z of how we do it. So just a simple little thing is that if we get a job in this morning, what is the first step that happens?
Okay, just to go back a step, SOPs are standard operating procedures for those of you who don't know. What is the first step that happens, Paddy?
The phone call.
Okay.
Right. So we get a call from our customer or contractor. The second thing that happens is the drawings come in, or the specifications come in, or a bill of quantities come in. But what happens with that? It actually goes to someone. It goes to another email address down below in our office's environment, and we know the person or persons that will look at that email and start. The next step then is to set that job up. So within that first 5 minutes of talking, there has already been near enough 6 steps. Okay? What that does then, when there is a mistake made or a mistake has been made, we can actually go back on that SOP and say, hold on here now. This is where it has fallen down before. Let's not make that mistake again. Or this happened on this job here, that we missed something on a drawing. Now, to categorize, we don't miss anything on the drawing, okay, because of the SOPs now. Little thing in our business is that all our measures are double checked. If an intermediate, a junior, or even a senior guy is measuring a job, that there is a senior person that looks over that job.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying then is you have a process, but you also have somebody overseeing it.
Yes.
But okay, so I asked you about mistake and how it's affected a client relationship and how you came back from that.
Been much to come back to that.
Sorry, Paddy. But those are the lessons that people can really learn from without giving information about the client.
Yeah, no, look, the call had to be made. Own up. Do not keep your hands down, own up to it straight away. What I found was that if you delay that inevitable, it's only going to make the relationship worse. But if you put your hand up and say where you've done the mistake or where it is, believe it or not, that's trust building.
It is.
Because the client or person on the other end actually goes, hold on here now, that business, put their hand up. Now, it all depends on the level of value of your mistake, okay? And you're hoping that it's not in the hundreds of, but that client is still with us 4 years later.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that was really good, I think, in terms of honesty. But you're right, that openness definitely sets a foundation for what relationships build.
Do you know one thing about truth?
What's that?
Never changes.
That's so true, yeah. Somebody's asked a question. It's great. This is the first time we're streaming live on the Master Your Business podcast. But somebody's asked a question, and it is actually a great question. I'm going to show the question here now, which is, could you please suggest a few ways to handle the team while you're in the beginning of your startup and not everyone is believing on you and almost everyone is trying to get salary from you and not devoting the way that you are doing it for your company?
Great question. And with a business that's very much resource led, we need people around us. Okay, so we need quantity surveyors, and we know there's a serious lack of quantity surveyors in our company. So we have to be mindful of the people that we're sitting across from. They expect a salary and expect to be very well paid. But why don't you get them involved if you do take them on? Get them involved of even saying, how can you as a business improve your business to your customers? We get our staff involved. That's what I've done here from day one. I like to hear the views of the guys and girls that work for me, and I find that very important because I discovered lately, thanks to someone, that I was a roadblocker.
Might have been me.
Yeah, and that was I couldn't believe it. So what was happening was, it was an instance of a particular system that we use in our business for quotations, okay? And I was actually stopping the quotation going out by about a day because I had to do X, Y, and Z before I'd let that quotation go out. But we took me out of the equation and we brought someone within the business to look after that. Hence, the quotations are going out quicker. Business is coming in quicker. But if people are there for salary only, and when this comes at, at interview stage, I personally think you know if a person is there for salary purposes only. I do, and I think if a person is there for salary purposes only, they will leave your company within a year. I know it's a terrible thing to say, but if it's all about money, it's no good to you as a business owner, because you're an entrepreneur. You're going to be doing 80 hours a week, all right? 60 to 80 hours a week, and I'm glad I do 60 to 80 hours. I'd rather do 60 to 80 hours a week in my own business than 40 hours from someone else's business. And Deirdre, you're probably the same.
100%.
But going back to your question about the salary and that they're not devoting their time to your business, another thing to think about, nobody loves your business as much as you do.
100% agree with that as well. Totally. Your business is your baby.
Yeah.
It's not anybody else's baby.
But you can get your staff to interact with your business and give them the tools, give them the authority to go off and make decisions. Okay, to a point. But I think the days of micromanagement it's not great. You've got to trust people.
I think though, Paddy, you touched on something earlier as well, which is having those processes and being really clear on what those processes are. But then something I've learned in my years of management and leading teams over the years is to really be clear on the expectations. Setting expectations. If you set expectations very early on, you're less likely to be disappointed, because you're clear and so is the other person on what it is that you expect from them. And then if they don't deliver on what's expected, then that's where you start to feel disappointed. And equally, if they don't deliver, they might feel like you're not supporting them enough, or they don't have the tools or resources. Setting those expectations should be a very open conversation, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it has to be an open conversation, and that goes from your customers. They expect, not only your staff, everyone has expectations of you as being the business owner. Just a little trick that we've done is that we have a board meeting 3 days of the week. Monday, Wednesday and a Friday.
Yeah.
For literally 5 minutes.
And the whole team shows up.
Whole team. And believe it or not, our youngest member of the team handles the board.
Fantastic.
So we've given him...
So you mean a whiteboard?
Whiteboard behind us here. Pen, red pen, blue pen, whatever. And we've given that young person the authority to... Not the authority, but to say, okay, lads, where are we on this job? Okay, it might sound simple, but you're actually giving them a management role at a very young age. So you're trying to see, okay, let's see your leadership. Let's see how you can get involved more in the business. I think just leaving the person in the corner doing the same mundane stuff every day of the week, it's pointless.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's about, as well, a lot of people don't know what motivates them, right? Salary can be a major motivator, and there's a fantastic TED Talk by a guy called, I think it's Dan Pink did the TED Talk. It's like a cartoon animation, and it talks about carrot and stick in terms of money and motivation. But actually, what he breaks it down to are 3 points, which are autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So what you were talking about doing with the board is giving somebody both autonomy and purpose.
100%, yeah.
But mastery then is in the trade or in what you're doing and becoming really expert at what they do. So if you can find, that can be a really great way to motivate people and help get more out of them. And interestingly, on the purpose part, I read a statistic about this. I'm not sure if it was in Jim Collins's book, Good to Great, or in something else that I read. But
my encyclopedia here beside me.
It was to do with purpose. And what it said was, and I can't recall the exact statistic, but where people are aligned with your businesses and your brand's purpose, they are more likely to give you an increase in discretionary effort, which basically means that they will go that bit more above and beyond just because they're aligned with what you're doing. They believe in it and they see the value and merit of doing what you're doing. So, yeah, I think the stats were like 40 to 60% increase in discretionary effort if people are aligned with your purpose. So your purpose comes from your brand. Your purpose is why you're in business beyond making money.
And just when you say that, and that's a great question, or great answer to it. I read a book lately, Simon, is it
Start with why?
Start with why. If anyone is starting their business, it's to find out why. Why are you getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning or 6:30? Why are you working till 8 o'clock at night? Why are you working on a Saturday morning? Why are you doing it even? Is it to get more money? Is it to sell a business in a couple of years? But is it about your customer base? Are you trying to bring something to the world to make it a better place? Our business is to make a better place for contractors. That's simply it, to make it easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I think is interesting, Paddy, and another great question, and I told you I was going to ask you this one before we started recording, which is, how do you know when is the right time to hire people?
Oh my God. When you start to get busy, because the calls will come in, especially here in Ireland, word of mouth is particularly still unreal. Okay,
so hang on till I just go back and make sure and clear this. So when you get to a certain stage busyness-wise, that's when you reckon?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you cannot, when you're a sole entrepreneur, you want to do everything. You can't do everything. And I found when we started out, I wanted to work for this fella, that fella, this business, over here, over there, but I'm only one person, okay? So suddenly it got too busy. And I found that when you get too busy, you actually start to lose how you work, because you're trying to get stuff done too quick. That's it, and you're missing out and stuff, whatever. So then our first employee came after year one, when I stepped up, say, from 5 clients to 6. I knew on the 6th client that I needed a new person with me.
Very good.
When the 6th person had come, and 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th, the 10th person had come, I knew then it was time for another surveyor. And I found that when the lads came in and the girls came in, they helped me to focus on other aspects of my business that I was finding that I was too involved, Deirdre. Imagine I was too involved in my business, okay? I was measuring too much, okay? Instead of me looking down and going, where can we focus more on my niche business? So what did we do? We started to get busy. We had this over here, we had that over there, we had this over here. So when you get busy, it's time to start narrowing down your niche, okay? So we have found our niche customer.
Yeah.
And that niche customer now is our bread and butter. That's our bread and butter customer.
Yeah, I love what you said there though, Paddy, as well, about don't narrow down your niche until you get busy.
Yes.
And what did you learn from working with all those people here, there and everywhere as well?
Oh, I learned so much. You learn so much about different aspects of construction. Like, say for instance, 4 years ago I would have not known anything about railways, okay? Of how you estimate them and how you price them. Today now we work with 2 of the most leading railway companies in the UK and Ireland.
Wow.
Okay, but they put trust in Carroll Estimating to come on board with them to show them their internal structure. But that, again, that started to get busy because now you start to get retained clients who are coming to you every day of the week. So that shows you, if I've got another 3 or 4 or 5 retainer clients, I might have to get another person involved here. Because your business is expanding. You can't keep promising everyone, yes, I'm the best at this and I want to work with you. And next minute they're ringing you the day before a tender is due and you're going, I haven't even looked at it.
Yes.
So you've got to be very careful that you don't grow massive overnight, but you want it to gradually. But I go back to the thing, if you are growing, you've got to bring people with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes total sense. And I think, like, when it comes to hiring as well, what made you decide to hire employees as opposed to outsourcing? And I ask this question because I have 3 subcontractors. So I have 3 people that work for me part-time, but none of them are my employees.
Okay, yeah, that is a tricky one. And that's very hard to balance because as a business owner, you can only control the controllables. I know it's a cliche, but if something steps outside your core business, you have to be able to control that because they are your name. You're subcontracting that out, but your name is still on that work. So again, it comes back to trust, confidentiality, experience. How does your game work? I work in construction industry. Deirdre works in multiples of fields, marketing, the whole lot, everything. But you've got to have that trust. Employees, okay, you've got taxes, PRSI, PAYE, you've got holidays, you've got paternity leave, maternity leave, okay? So when you're employing someone, you've got to look at all the benefits, all right? You might not have the work to employ someone directly. You might not be able to pay their wages over 12 months. It might just not work out. So that's where businesses subcontract work out, where they don't have any of those benefits that you have to pay.
Yes.
Okay? And it might be just a quick solution to be done in a quick time.
Yeah.
So say, for instance, we might have, just a little example, we might need a quick measure done on something. Now, I know many lads that do, or many girls that do freelancing like ourselves, okay? It's a quick call, we work with them day in, day out. They might have to measure a pipe run. It's done.
Okay.
It saves my business maybe an hour. But that hour is crucial to us during the week because the guys in our office works 38 hours a week, okay? And they finish at 3:30 on a Friday as well, just in case anyone's looking for a job. But I'm trying to maximise the work. Oh no, I don't dog them. You know what I mean? But the guys get as maximum time out of them during that working day.
So a lot of productivity, which I think
100%.
is fair and to be expected.
Yeah.
But you support them with the tools and
Yes.
the environment. And I think leading on from that question, Paddy, because again, part of your incredible success is that you're now in a position where you're actually about to purchase the premises. And
Yes.
what I find interesting about that is none of your clients actually visit a premises. And we're in this world where we could operate entirely online. You may not need a premises. What made you decide to take the leap and go and purchase the premises?
It goes back to 4 years ago. I started in a makeshift office in the garage at home, and after 2 years, where I told you about the 5 clients went to 6 clients, so I had to employ someone. So that person was starting to come to a home setting, which I didn't feel, and they probably didn't feel comfortable either, because business and home, they just don't mix. Okay, and you've got to think of the other person too. We went and rented offices for the last 3 years now, 2 to 3 years anyway. To me, renting a place, I probably would rather spend money on my own premise. Okay, that's just my business thought. And not only that, is that I have control, or we have control over it. And I know where the guys can fit in. Now, we have contractors that come into our environment. Okay, so I want to be able to portray what we do. Like, we're the boots on the ground for these guys. We actually do wear the hard hats, the helmets, the jackets and the whole lot. I don't want to portray that we're above anyone, that we're this swanky looking office and shirt and tie. You can see here I wear a polo shirt and the whole lot. I instill this in the lads that we employ, is that when we go to site or when they come to our offices, is that everyone is treated the same. Whether you're a main contractor, subcontractor, the cleaner of the toilet, it does not matter. The reason being, I'm asking that person, how long does it get you to clean that toilet or whatever? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But buying a premise is important for us. It's to show our brand as well, big time. And because we're on a trajectory at the moment of getting a little bit, I like to have that feel that someone can come into a comfortable environment, come down, have the cup of tea, have the chat, and hopefully that they're
You've one guy who's a fantastic addition to your team, but he's an apprentice. He's not fully qualified. So
No.
it's a lot easier for him to learn whilst being on the ground, isn't it? Than it would be maybe if he was sitting at home in an office by himself.
Yeah. Jack's father actually came to me a couple of months ago. A young fella, 18 years of age, doing his leaving cert here in Ireland. And he came, and I couldn't believe it. He said he wanted to do college and work at the same time. So it's either a college life or a different life. So you have to spell that out, that, you know, you can't come in here drunk on a Thursday, but during college life. So what we've done, Jack now has done his first year apprenticeship, and I call it apprenticeship because I call QSing on a contractor side a trade.
And you know, it's interesting, I would have said that when I started my career in the bank. I feel like retrospectively it was like an apprenticeship as well, because I started at the bottom and I worked my way up to be a branch manager, and part of that was studying outside of work at the same time. So yeah, I definitely would see that as
And like, there's a funny story about Jack. When Jack started, 18 years of age, he's very green. They're very green to even talking on the phone because they're so used to text and whatever. So Jack's first job was to, obviously we're a construction company and we're looking for prices all the time. So we got Jack to ring at Wildlife Park. Now, he didn't think he was ringing for Wildlife Park.
Oh, you're so mean.
So we said to Jack that when he goes, could he get a price on high trees and look for a man by the name of Giraffe. So he was got the very first morning. So Jack went home to his brother. Jack's father's in the construction game, and he told his father about it, and he says, "You didn't embarrass the family today, did you?" Look, you've got to have fun.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Okay, we're in a business of money, right? But it's so important that your staff, you can have a little heartedness too.
I think that's important. I do think it's important. And another great question here as well is, what is both your suggestions? Is it great to handle my company online mode, or either try to get an office and be offline? I have 17 employees working for me. Wow. And you were just a startup? Oh my gosh. Okay. 17 employees working for me. So is it the right stage to jump in renting an office? And by the way, the workload is
skyrocketing day by day.
The workload is skyrocketing, day by day.
Yeah, if I were you, I would rent first, to be honest with you.
Would you, Paddy?
Yeah, I would, yeah. You get to see the lay of the land, how it works, because when you buy a business, or when you buy a premises, there's all the added stuff on top of it. You've got to get broadband in, the electricity, does the office have to be done up?
But don't you have a lot of that if you're renting as well? Like
you have a lot of that.
For those
you have to pay for that car park space. Is there employees driving? There's so many things, and not only that, you've got to pay council fees on top of that. Whereas in renting, that usually is within the rate. So starting off with 17 employees, that's a very high number. I'm very well done and fair play to you for getting to there. But start off like that, see how it goes, and if you find out that you're spending X amount of money per year and you go, do you know what it is, after 10 years if I bought a premises, that would be better. So you've got to look at your numbers, you've got to balance it out, your financing.
Yeah, and I would have a different take on this entirely, right? And my take on this is, firstly, your 17 employees, are they all in a location where they could travel to an office? Because if you think about this as well, if your business is online and you can't find employees locally, but potentially on a global level, you could hire somebody in Ireland, the UK, the US, Canada, wherever. And that means then that your reach for an employee search is not specific to a location. And where it's particularly difficult to find employees at the moment, that would be what I would suggest. But then what I would suggest, and I've seen other businesses do this, where, you know, you're the head of the company, but you have a lot of people, is that they might do a quarterly meeting then where everybody comes together. So that would save enormously on costs, because you don't have any overheads in your business except your own, and then that of the wages you're not paying for rent of a building or to purchase a building. You're not paying for everybody's electricity. You're not giving out about people leaving the lights on when they go home at night because they're at home in their own home offices. But at the same time, again, it comes back to that expectations that we spoke about before. And so what you've said is that there are 11 that can travel, but the rest is in other countries. Yeah. So that could be a way to do it. It depends on whether you think you'll get more from your employees if they're all working together, or whether just keeping them remotely. I think you're going to need to do some sums on this and see what it would work out at for you. Because you have to buy things like tea and coffee and kettles and things like that and support them in that way. But I think, again, going back to the point, if you were to fund or pay for a gathering once a quarter, what would the costs be to do that and bring people together from around the world to enable those sorts of meetings?
Yeah, and that goes to your customers as well. I presume from that person there putting in the message there that they deal with customers all over the world by the sound of things, or in different locations. Our contractors, a lot of our retainer contractors don't actually have to come near us. We use mobile phone. We get pictures, we get videos, we get voice notes, everything through our mobile phones. Sometimes we're only on sites maybe once every 2 weeks. Something might happen within those 2 weeks, but we don't have to go to site because they have a camera. As I say, a picture tells us 1,000 words, isn't it? Or speaks 1,000 words.
But you do go to site.
Yes.
And why do you go to site?
We want to be on the ground. The people want to see you physically. The customers that we have want to see you physically, you know.
So I think that's another great point to Paddy's suggestion there, is if you have clients who are going to be coming to you, or your employees are going to be going to the clients, then it might make sense to have that office space as well, where you can group and divvy out tasks and things like that more freely. Great questions. Thanks for sharing them. Paddy, a couple of other things I'd love to ask you, because I could ask you loads of things about your business. I have a good insight into Paddy's business, which is probably an unfair advantage for a podcast, but the question that I have is, over the years now, you're established 5 years?
Near enough 5 years, yeah.
What have been the biggest learnings or takeaways or pivotal moments where you've had aha moments that you could share with anybody who's watching or listening?
The aha moments are definitely you can't do it by yourself. It's impossible.
Yeah.
There are so many hours in a day and so many hours in a week, and I have a family, okay? And you have to have time for your family, because it's not worth it. Money if you don't have support behind you, if you're working all the time, it's just not going to end well, to be honest with you. Second biggest thing, and I learned this a couple of years ago, is what's your get-out clause? What are you going to do?
What do you mean?
What are you going to do when you come 60, 65? What do you want to do with your business? Are you going to hand it over? Are you going to sell it? You know, and I couldn't believe I was asked that question 4 weeks into when I went to CRO to register my business. What's your get-out clause?
Wow.
And I was there, I'm only starting, but why are you doing this? Okay, so that was another thing. Another thing is that, and I'm a firm, and Deirdre will know this, bringing people with you is huge. And that means bringing other businesses with you. Okay, you can't share the lot because we all have to make profit. If we don't make profit, it's a waste of time. Okay, we're not in the love of it's not for the love of the game. Okay,
I always say on that, Paddy, if you don't mind me adding that, like, at the end of the day, you have to make money in your business.
Yeah.
Because if you don't make money in your business, you won't have a business to run.
No.
And so you need clients. Without clients, you don't have money. Without clients, you don't need employees. Your clients are the company's biggest asset.
Big time.
So that comes back to the money part, I think, as well, because clients bring the money.
Oh, 100%. And I think don't ever get ahead of yourself. You know, never think that you're bigger than you are, because people they'll find you out. Don't tell lies.
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. And
if you make a mistake, put your hand up.
Yeah.
I think I'll put my hand up after this podcast. I made a mistake doing this podcast today.
No, you didn't. You've been wonderful, Paddy. And is there anything else? So let me just see, have I captured those right? You can't do it by yourself. have a get out clause, bring other people and their businesses along with you, and tell the truth.
100%.
Amazing.
You won't go too far wrong, and just be nice.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost anyone any money.
It doesn't cost anyone any money. Paddy, thank you so much for joining us on the Master Your Business podcast. Thank you to Amanullah in particular, who shared and asked loads of questions. For those of you who've never watched or listened to the Master Your Business podcast before, please subscribe, take out your camera open up your camera app on your phone and scan the QR code, or else you can just literally click Master Your Business podcast wherever you like to listen or stream your podcasts from. The show is all about helping you get to the next level of your business. We mostly talk about branding, marketing, customer experience, and a lot of what Paddy has talked and shared about here today is about growing your business and growing your brand so that you can have a get out clause at the end of it all, Paddy. So folks, thank you again for watching and listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate or review the show wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Deirdre. Appreciate that. Thank you.